I think raising kids, if you do it the right way, can actually make your marriage better because
100%.
it forces this intentionality that we're talking about. Whereas, maybe it was easier before, but it causes us to have to fight for our marriage, to fight for what we want, which forms a deeper connection. But our heart in this episode is to encourage you wherever you're at, whatever season you are in. If you have little kids, if you have teenagers, if your kids have left the house and now you're back in the season of, oh gosh, the kids are gone. Like, what do we do now? Mm-hmm. And maybe you're redating. We don't want couples to get to that stage and feel like they don't know each other anymore. I mean, statistics show that there's a higher divorce rate after kids are out of the house because the kids were the glue that were holding the husband and wife together. That is not our heart. Our heart is that when your kids do move on to that next season of life, you get to have that undivided attention with your spouse again. And not that you have fallen out of love through that process, but that you are more in love than ever before, that your connection is deeper than it's ever been before. So we're going to talk about how to date through those seasons so that when you get to the season of being able to easily date again, you don't feel like strangers. Hey there, welcome back to the Greater Marriage Podcast with the Millers. We are Dustin and Heather, and we are here just to hang out with you and talk about marriage because, gosh, it is not easy.
A lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about. You throw kids in the mix, you throw moving, jobs, financial situations, anything in the mix, and you can very easily find yourselves in a tough situation. We've had years where we've navigated things well, and we've had a lot of years where we navigated things very, very poorly. And so that is our heart in creating this space, is just a place where we can be honest, be vulnerable, and maybe answer questions of things that other people have hit their heads on, and hopefully help some people save themselves from walking through some of the hardship that we walked through, especially in the early years of our marriage.
Yeah, for sure. You'll see that we always bring everything back to the Word, the Word of God. We have a biblical worldview, and we are obviously believers, spent 10 years in ministry. And so we always try to bring everything back to the foundation of the Word so that we speak foundational truths. Not everything that we talk about are things that we've mastered. Most of what we talk about are things that we're still putting into practice and trying.
For sure.
And there's days where we fail miserably at it. And so, but we will always bring it back to the truth of God's Word, and use that as our solid, firm foundation to kind of speak to any and all topics. So you're not just getting the expertise of Dustin and Heather Miller, you are getting
the failures,
the truth of God's Word, and some funny stories and some failures, and maybe some wins every once in a while.
Yeah.
But we just appreciate y'all tuning in and hearing what we have to say. And we enjoy this. We enjoy hearing from you guys, hearing from our listeners, and we're going to keep on chugging along.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing that maybe you did or didn't know about us, we got married and had this 2 to 3 year plan for having kids.
No doubt.
And
we're going to travel the world. We're going to, get deep planted into ministry. We're going to change people's lives. It's going to be awesome.
And 6 weeks in, I got pregnant with our first baby. So
doubt.
Our newlywed season was also our parent prep season, our barfing season, our exhaustion. I had a very hard pregnancy. So today we're talking about dating, but it's funny because we went from this dating season to really just kind of jumping in with both feet into marriage, parenting, all of it all at once. And we didn't do a good job of being intentional about dating because I think we just felt like we were sort of drinking from the fire hydrant of parenting immediately. And so I want to talk about that today, but also about parenting while you're trying to still date your spouse. Because I think a lot of people, we could see the dating season clearly before we get married, but then we get married and maybe we do a good job of dating before we have kids. And then you have kids and it's like, forget it. I'll date you when they're all out of the house.
Well, and we had a lot of ground to make up. We dated for 10 months. We were engaged for 6, and then we got married. Mm-hmm. So it was only, 16 months from kind of the moment that we began talking and kind of develop. I guess maybe we spent a few months talking and developing a friendship. And then after that, it was like we began dating. We were, if you know our story, we were navigating grief. We were navigating a lot in those early months, and so trying to figure out: are you ready to date again? Am I ready to be in a long-term relationship? What does this look like for us? So we're navigating that and trying our best to date and have fun together, but also navigating heart issues and hard conversations and all of these things. And then we get married, and it's like, okay, now that, we knew we wanted to be married. And so now that we're married, we can kind of have fun together and date and do all the things that we maybe missed out on as we were digging through some like deep heart stuff in the dating and engagement phase, and the opinions of others and all the things we navigated. And then we get married, and 6 weeks in, get pregnant. We were hardly back from the honeymoon. It's not like we were in the honeymoon phase. We didn't even like have a honeymoon phase. It was like we had a honeymoon and then a kid. And so it was like, again, hard pregnancy, very tired, exhausted, and then kid comes, and, it's just like all the things that come.
You're trying to survive.
Along with that. You're trying to survive. We spent the first 2 years of our marriage surviving and not thriving.
Well, and it's so easy to date when you're dating, right? When you're in that season of dating, because it's like you probably have a job. What priority do you have outside of that? You're the person you're dating, right? And so it's like your focus is maybe work, maybe taking care of a home if you're a homeowner, and then the person you're dating. And so it's so easy to prioritize that, and for that Friday night date to be what you look forward to, and the extra time that you have in the evening to be spent planning a surprise or, whatever. And then you add all these other things in there, kids especially being a massive one, and all of a sudden your time is a lot thinner. And you have a million tabs open in your brain, and you're juggling their schedules and all the things. And dating just kind of, as you add more, another kid, dating just kind of gets bumped down the priority list, right? And then you get to this place of like, gosh, when was the last time we went on a date? And so adding kids to the mix, I think, is funny in itself, because as they get older, as they have voices and personalities, they like to, whether they realize it or not, give input and affect dates when we're trying to plan them. And, majority of the time it's innocent and they have no idea. But we laugh all the time about, it's like, if we are trying to carve out time for an intentional conversation or intentional time together, never fails. One of the three kids is interrupting.
Oh, for sure.
One way or another.
And by the way, when we say date, right, we're talking about dating while you're married, we mean setting aside intentional time for one another, right?
Yeah.
Whether that is, it's just time with no kids, no distraction, intentional conversations. We're not on our phones. It could be eating a meal. It could be playing a game. It could be talking with one another, praying with one another, just sitting across the table from one another and having intentional time. That's what we need.
There's dating outside the house and inside the house.
And
there are seasons.
And we're going to talk about that.
There's seasons that you need to do both.
For sure. But if we're trying to even kind of like reflect on the day, right? I get home from work. You come home with the kids, picking them up from school. We've got to go wherever that evening. We're driving to a basketball game or to a practice or to go run errands or do a Costco run, whatever it is. We get in the car, turn the music on, turn on our Forrest Frank playlist, whatever. And we are like, whatever, pan it to the back, let the kids listen to the music while we talk. Without fail. If you have a firstborn, which if you have any children, you do.
Well, a firstborn personality. Without
fail, our firstborn is in our conversation. He is an adult, right? And so it's like when he was 6, when he was 8, when he was 10, now that he's 12. What'd you guys say? What are you talking about? What's happening September 23rd? What do we do next weekend? Was that next weekend or the following weekend? What'd you guys do? What? I mean, and it's like we saw that meme the other day of Trump, like, just like looking in and like gazing and like kind of nodding his head. And it's like my firstborn in the back seat listening to everything we say. That is so real. Like, we can't have a conversation in the front seat without being like, oh my gosh, hey, let us be the adults.
I'm like, can we just buy a limo just for sake of having a limo window that we can put up in the car?
Yeah, call us if you need us, guys, on the bag phone in the back. Because we just need some us time. And so sometimes the kids make it tough, right? Talk about being at the house, right? Like we try to have intentional time in the evening. That's where we put the kids to bed. But also Our second born has FOMO. So if he knows we're awake, major, I mean, he just has a fear of missing out. And every time we put him to bed, he thinks of a reason to come tell us why he can't sleep. Why is that? I was like, brother, I just walked out of your room. Like, of course you can't sleep. You just laid down. And you asked me for cereal and candy for dinner. So it's like, yeah, you probably, and we don't do that. But it's like, yeah, you're trying to eat junk. You're trying to go to sleep after that. Not going to happen, brother. And you just want to know what we're doing. We do this thing called Sunday Fun Day. Right? You want to explain what our Sunday Fun Days are?
So we kind of started Sunday Fun Day to get intentional time with each of the kids because it's busy. We're running from practices to, we try and do as much as we can as a family. Even if Dustin's coaching basketball, if I can still be there, I want to be there so I can be a part of it as well. But Sunday Fun Day, basically every Sunday, a different kid. We just are on this constant rotation of our kids, and they get to stay up 30 minutes later than the other kids. Everybody else goes to bed. They stay up for 30 minutes, and we'll do what they want to do, whether that's playing cards or playing a board game, or our oldest likes to, stay up and watch sports if there's a sports game on. Just time with us where we can just really get to know them more, aside from them with their brother and sister. So without fail, every time, if it is not our second born's Sunday Fun Day, he makes it. He tries to make it his Sunday Fun Day. And then we end up with threats of, you're going to lose your Sunday Fun Day next week if you don't stop interrupting your sister's Sunday Fun Day.
I'll preface it like, hey, it's Sunday Fun Day. You are not allowed to get out of your bed. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what they want to do yet. I know you want to know, but we can talk about it in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need to come down and ask, what are you doing? What are you watching? What are you playing? What are you guys doing? Are you having a snack? What kind of snacks you get? That's all the questions we've got.
And that's the first question the next morning, Monday morning.
100%.
He comes down. What'd you guys do for Noah's Sunday Fun Day last night?
Yeah, every time. And speaking of Noah, it's like, we got the baby of the family too. Clockwork, 6 a.m. every morning, maybe 6:15 if we're lucky. She comes rolling in. She may not be up for the day, but she's definitely going to try to spend the last hour cuddling in our bed with us. Right?
A lot of times she's up for the day.
A lot of times she is. But she's the cuddly one. She wants to jump in our bed, before, if we're not up already. She wants to jump in, cuddle with us. Again, morning time tends to be an intentional time for us. Not with the baby around, right? And I say baby, she's 7 now, but it's like, kids make it tough to have intentional time, whether it's the time we used to have in the car before kids, the time we used to have in the evenings before kids, that morning time of getting up and getting ready and spending intentional time together before kids. All of that was just extra time with each other. And we could have intentional conversations, and we could have those moments together. But when you got kids trying to stay up late, trying to get up early, jumping in your conversation in the car, you have to be intentional about what that time looks like.
Okay, and hear our heart in this. We are not knocking parenting.
We love being parents.
Aside from marriage, being parents is our favorite thing in the whole world. Yes. We love raising kids. And I think raising kids, if you do it the right way, can actually make your marriage better because 100%. It forces this intentionality that we're talking about. Whereas, maybe it was easier before, but it causes us to have to fight for our marriage, to fight for what we want, which forms a deeper connection. But our heart in this episode is to encourage you wherever you're at, whatever season you are in. If you have little kids, if you have teenagers, if your kids have left the house and now you're back in the season of, oh gosh, the kids are gone. Like, what do we do now? And maybe you're redating. We don't want couples to get to that stage and feel like they don't know each other anymore. Statistics show that there's a higher divorce rate after kids are out of the house because the kids were the glue that were holding the husband and wife together. That is not our heart. Our heart is that when your kids do move on to that next season of life, you get to have that undivided attention with your spouse again. And not that you have fallen out of love through that process, but that you are more in love than ever before, that your connection is deeper than it's ever been before. So we're going to talk about how to date through those seasons so that when you get to the season of being able to easily date again, you don't feel like strangers.
Yeah, we called this Don't Wait to Date because you shouldn't wait until your kids leave the house or until you have less responsibility or until work is less busy or until the season is over. Maybe you're not looking 18 years down the road saying, hey, I'll date you whenever the kids go to college. But maybe you are saying, hey, after season, we're going to be way less busy. We'll go on a date. Hey, after I get through this contract. Hey, after my work slows down. Hey, after we get through whatever this thing is.
We've been there. We've done that.
After we get through the holidays, we'll take time for us after the fact. And then you just get there's 1 degree of separation every day, every week, every month. And you just begin to get further and further and further from one another because you're not being intentional about every single day. And so we want to talk about how do we date now in the busyness, in the chaos, in the sports, in the kids, in the babies, and all the things going on. How do we get to the point where when our kids leave, it's business as usual, where we continue to date one another and we enjoy one another even more as the kids do begin to go off and go into college and have their own lives, even as they become teenagers. They get more busy and they're driving and they're more independent. And, I was talking to a guy, one of my clients the other day, and he was saying, my wife and I just became empty nesters. And he goes, man, it goes by really quick. It's real quiet around the house. And he followed that with, my wife and I are enjoying it. I love this, but it's very different.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it is going to be very different. But if you're already in the habit of being intentional in those quiet moments and being intentional even in the busy moments to make time for one another, it's not going to feel as foreign when it does happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Matthew 19:6 says this, so they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. This is Jesus talking here. No one, right? He says, let no one separate what God has brought together. No one includes your kids. Don't let your kids come between your marriage. No one includes your boss. It includes your in-laws. It includes your parents. It includes yourself. Don't let anyone or anything or any schedule or any whatever come between you and your spouse.
Yeah. And I think we can come up with any excuse, well, I don't have time to date. Well, finances are too tight right now. And I want to lay all of those to rest because if you care enough about something, you will make time for it.
100%.
If that's getting up earlier, if that's staying up later, if that's, hey, we both have a lunch break, we're going to meet up for a 30-minute coffee connection once a week. And when it comes to expenses, you don't have to spend a penny on dates. Yes, it is so fun to get dressed up and go to a nice steakhouse and have a fancy date, or go to a show. And there's a place for all 100%.
Of that. You should want to invest in your marriage, right?
Absolutely.
Dates are an investment. They're a worthy investment.
Absolutely. But if you're in a season that you feel like the Lord has told you, hey, you need to maybe trim the fat on your finances and cut some things out, that doesn't mean trim the fat on dating your spouse.
Yes, exactly.
That means trim the fat on spending money. So that's where that creativity comes into play. And it's like, okay, how can we still date? How can we still prioritize each other without spending money? Maybe that looks like going to Barnes and Noble and pulling some architecture books off the shelf and dreaming about what your dream house could look like together. It doesn't have to cost anything to go do that. Maybe it's sitting at home, putting the kids to bed early, sitting at home together, playing cards or playing a game, sitting on the back patio, lighting a fire and talking about where you want to be in 5 years, where you want to be in 10 years, laughing about things the kids did. There's inside the house dates, of course, if you have little bitty babies, sometimes that becomes more frequent than out of the house dates. I think both are very important because when you're at home, it's easier for it to just feel normal, business as usual, and something about leaving the house and going somewhere else. It's like, hey, I've set this this time aside. I've set this place aside for us to go have time together, nothing else. And so it's using wisdom to evaluate what season we're in and still finding a way to date through each of those seasons.
100%. You and I have something that a suggestion that I love is that we trade babysitting with our friends, right? It's like, hey, we'll take your kids Thursday night if you'll take our kids Friday night.
Yeah, little babysitting.
You take our kids Friday, we'll take y'all's kids Saturday, right? And we've done that for overnights with people that we love and trust, right? We're very careful about where our kids stay, but there are families and friends that we love and trust that we'll say, hey, we'll take your kids overnight. Y'all can go have a night to yourselves, and then you take our kids overnight, maybe even the following week, and we'll figure something out. Cost us $0. We've done nights away at a local hotel.
Yeah.
It's like just to get out of the house. And if you're having strife in your marriage and you just need an evening where you get out, or it's just busyness of life and it's like, we just need a little adventure. Let's go stay at a hotel in town, spend $75, $100 to go stay at, and invest again that time. And it's like, hey, we're going to send our kids to their grandparents. We're going to send our kids to a friend's house.
Maybe not 75, $100. That's not a hotel I would want to stay.
Maybe a couple $100, I was thinking cheap, but yeah, a motel. If the door swings out to outside, maybe don't go there, right? Like, I don't want to hear the sirens while I'm at the hotel. That's a motel, now I'm thinking of Chingy songs, but
I was.
oh man. Anyways, let's get back on track. But you don't have to leave town. You don't have to fly somewhere. You don't have to go have a $500 steak dinner. Like there are ways to date one another, to spend time with one another. Flowers. One of the ways we do flower for our anniversary, right? Flowers can get expensive. And it's like, it wasn't not even thinking about the cost thing. I wanted you to get what you wanted. And so we literally took our anniversary date to go to Trader Joe's, and I just let you pick out whatever flowers you wanted.
I love
build
making
your own
flower
bouquet.
arrangements.
Yeah.
Like I tend to critique pre-made flower arrangements anyway. I would rather pick what I want, whether that's seasonal and it sounds silly, but like I do find so much joy in making a flower arrangement. And so, yeah, part of our anniversary, he was like, I'm gonna let you pick what you want. And so we went and he let me pick and try this and try that. And I spent way more time probably than I needed to looking at all the different flower options. And then I made this bouquet and loved it. And shout out Trader Joe's flowers. They are quality and way cheaper than dropping $100 on an arrangement that sucks. And sorry, they don't all suck. There are some florists that are absolutely incredible, but it's expensive. I'll just say that.
I could have spent $120 for Heather to critique the poverty flowers of carnations that were in the bouquet, or I could have spent $40, gotten some maple cookies and every flower you wanted from Trader Joe's.
I don't love carnations. Anybody else out there with me? Anybody else not love carnations? I will say.
Anybody else not know what a carnation is? No, I couldn't pick it out of a crowd. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
I will say,
roses, pretty solid.
Carnations have like a triple life on them. The suckers never die. They last forever, but I don't know. They just feel cheap. They feel cheap to me.
Yeah,
I'm going to stand
Which
by
is why
that.
I let you pick. Yeah. I do know what flowers you like, and I have picked bouquets for you before.
Great flowers.
But maybe that date night is going to Trader Joe's and grabbing some $20 or $30 flower arrangement that you're going to put in the house, and that's supposed to be whatever that is. Man, just be intentional. Again, there are creative ways for you to spend time together. And so we have to be intentional. Somebody said this to me one time, and I love this. They said, man, if there was a celebrity that was in town and wanted to grab dinner with you, you'd move heaven and earth to make that happen. We have to be able to put that kind of priority on our spouse, right? That like make a date and don't miss it. Create the intentionality to move heaven and earth to spend that quality time with your spouse. I don't know that there's a celebrity that you would be impressed enough to have dinner with, but I'm pretty easily starstruck.
I was going to say, who would your celebrity date be?
Oh man, don't even get me started. I feel like the list is endless. I mean, MJ won, right? The GOAT, Michael Jordan. Come on now. Allen Iverson. I would love to have dinner with Allen Iverson. AI changed my life. I wore headbands and the answer wristband and
you still have a jersey.
Still have the Iverson, the red throwback Iverson jersey. I mean, yeah. I mean, there are a million, that I could think of.
Okay, but the funny thing is, I feel like, sure, there's people that I would have dinner with, but I just am not, I don't know. I'm just not like a starstruck person. Like at the end of the day, I'm like, they're just a normal person. So I would just talk to them that way. But I think that
I would too. I'm not going to be like a bumbling idiot, but I will be a little starstruck. Like, I do. When we have seen people that have status or that I'm impressed by, I do tend to get a little starstruck. Yeah. It happens.
It happens.
It happens. Happened recently. You know, we had my man Jimmy Darts came to our church this week. If you guys don't know who that is, follow him. He's incredible. It's just
amazing. One of my favorite follows.
Yeah, just an incredible, has a massive social media presence, like 4 million followers, and he's just kind to people. He's one of those guys. There's another guy, I can't think of the guy's name, another guy from Canada that does this, but basically goes up to people and asks them for kind of their last dollar. He'll find homeless people or people that are in a tough time, and he'll just say, hey, could I have $1? I'm really thirsty. I haven't gotten a drink all day. I'd like to get some drink or something to eat. And people will give him their last dollar, and then he'll be like, wow, why did you do this? Why were you so kind? And the response is always like, because I just want to help other people, or because I don't have it and I know what it feels like to not have it. And then he turns around, raises money for them. He recently raised $500,000 to get somebody out of homelessness. I mean, just an unbelievable,
amazing.
And we have followed him for years. We have watched his videos with our kids. We have cried watching his videos. Amazing.
All of them. I cry watching all of them.
Yeah, we have spent date nights laying in bed watching his videos, just spending time together, going through some Jimmy Dart stuff, content. And we were sitting, in church the other day, and I turned around and I was like, Heather, look over your left shoulder. And she looks and she's like, oh my gosh, that's Jimmy Darts. I couldn't focus. Heather was like, wow, Jimmy Dart's crazy. What is he doing here? And then right back to taking notes. I'm like shocked. I mean, like awestruck and like being like nervous to go over there after service. And he was with friends of ours, and so we did get to talk to him after service, and he was so cool and so kind and exactly who he is online. He was that way in person. But yeah, I get a little starstruck sometimes. I'm easily impressed, I think.
Love that about you.
Okay. Go ahead.
James 4:17. So whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him it is sin.
Ooh. We talked before about sins of commission, right? Things you commit, sins you actively commit that don't align with the will of God, and sins of omission, things you leave out. This is a definition of a sin of omission, right? You know the right thing to do and you don't do it. That is sin.
Wow. So would you say not dating your spouse is a sin?
I think so. And maybe that sounds like a harsh, critique of like, come on, sin, like just because you don't spend time with one another. But marriage is covenant. God cares about covenant, and God cares that we care about covenant. And so it's not just about what we do, it's what we don't do, right? The Word of God gives us both sides of the picture. We talked about this whenever we talked about love recently, that 1 Corinthians 13 tells us less of what is and more of what love is not.
Right.
Right? It's like, and so it's like, yes, it is patient, it is kind, but it is not envious. It does not boast. It's more about what you don't do than what you do. And on the flip side, if I'm not envious and not boastful, that's great. But if I'm not patient and I'm not kind, I'm leaving out the thing that I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And that's also sin. And so, in our marriage, now, not dating your spouse is going to send you to hell. Sin doesn't send us to hell. Our sin is redeemed. Thank God. Thank you for Jesus. Thank you for the blood. But, man, let's not be a people who don't do what we know to do.
Well, I think another way to ask the question would be, is it a sin to not prioritize your marriage?
Yeah, 100%. You may say, well, I'm not cheating on my spouse. I'm not looking at porn. I'm not talking bad about my spouse. I'm not angry with them. I'm not hitting them. Like I'm a good husband. I'm a good wife. And it's like, that's great. Not doing the bad stuff is awesome.
Yes.
Let's also be intentional to do the things that enrich our marriage.
Well, what is sin? It's simply missing the mark.
Missing the mark, yeah.
And so if we are not prioritizing our marriage, I would say we're missing the mark.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's pretty clear there for him to not do the right thing. It is the sin. We have to be those people who know the right thing to do and actually take steps. We have to put our money where our mouth is, not just say the right things, but actually do the right things.
Yeah, that's so good. So how do we make our marriage greater today? Man, pull out your calendar, or in my case, I would pull out Heather's calendar that I am attached to, and I would put something in, and she would see it. It'd be the first time I ever put anything in there, but she would see it because when she puts things in, I see it. And this is a marriage tip 101, by the way. So let's do this.
Share calendars.
Share your calendar. Step 1, sign up for your wife's calendar. Or if the husband is the intentional calendar keeper, wives, sign up for your husband's calendar, share that calendar with one another, and then put a date night in that calendar and don't allow anything to make you miss that.
Yeah.
Right? We talk about this. I talk about this in my time with God in the morning. And again, I'm not perfect at this, but we always say like, make a date with God and don't miss it, right? Like I'm not going to miss that dinner with a celebrity. I'm not going to miss that moment with God. I'm not going to miss a moment with my spouse. If I set something on the calendar, I'm going to be there. And so we put something in the calendar right now, a time for you to be intentional, away from your kids, away from even friends, just to have time with your spouse and your spouse only. And if you do that, man, when you're there, speak with love, speak with intentionality, have meaningful conversations, and just learn to laugh together again, have fun together. Again, if you don't want to spend money, man, pull a game out, get some cards out, whatever that looks like for your marriage. Make time to be intentional with one another.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, would you do us a quick favor? Can you hit subscribe wherever you are listening or watching? Hit subscribe, follow us on social media, any social media platform, you can find us there. We would love to connect with you, send little encouraging words, little tidbits that we post throughout the week just to keep your marriage at the forefront of your mind. It does take intentionality to be thinking about prioritizing your marriage, and so we want to help you do that. So go ahead and give us a follow there. As always, you can find resources at greatermarriage.com, and we'll see you again next week. They'll be great.